It's Campus Equity Week. This presentation will tell you all about it, what it is, what it aims to accomplish, and why it matters to all of us here at Ohio State. Let's start with what it is exactly. Begun in 1999 in California, it's now a nationally coordinated effort that weaves together local actions to boost visibility of the issues facing adjunct faculty. This means instructors who don't have job security and get hired on short-term contracts. Why does it exist? First, we want to promote awareness of the precarious situation of a lot of faculty members in higher education. Put simply, many of your instructors are overworked, underpaid, and undersupported. We also want to build solidarity amongst everyone involved, administrators, all faculty, and you, the students. Before we go any further, let's get the terms down. There are lots of different types of instructors, and the titles universities give them vary according to schools, department, and even the culture of a place. In general, adjunct, contingent, and associate faculty all describe folks who have shorter term contracts, less security, and less support. Tenure track and eventually tenured professors are those who are hired full-time with longer-term contracts and have the support that goes along with it. Ohio State calls all who are not tenure track associate faculty. Under this umbrella fall term lecturers and senior lecturers. There are some pretty stark differences between the two, namely that often term lecturers don't have health insurance, whereas senior lecturers are guaranteed it. There are even more types of instructors not listed here, visiting assistant professors and clinical faculty, for example, but today we're going to be focusing on folks with shorter term contracts. National news outlets tend to draw a big line between tenure track and the rest of us. So for the purposes of this presentation, we'll do the same. We'll call everyone who isn't eligible for tenure adjunct or contingent labor. Conservative estimates say that just over half of all instructional faculty in the U.S. are adjunct, but other reputable sources put the number even higher. The Association of Governing Boards for Universities and Colleges say that 3 out of 4 instructional faculty at nonprofit schools across the country are adjunct. That's more than 800,000 academic workers. According to the New York Times, adjunct labor has become the majority for 3 reasons. Of course, it's much cheaper for the schools. Second, American graduate schools graduate so many PhDs in disciplines where jobs are already scarce. And third, critics have been decrying the concept of tenure for a long time, as they think it protects ideologues. The criticism has worked, and the institution of tenure has weakened. But typically, these individuals are paid far less than their full-time colleagues for comparable work. A 2014 survey conducted by the government concluded that the median income for an adjunct instructor was just over $22,000, while one who was full-time could expect a median of $47,000. They aren't always given access to institutional support either, things like funding to go to conferences, an office to themselves where they can get a lot done, or the time to conduct their own research or creative projects. Many of these part-time faculty don't have access to benefits, health insurance, retirement contributions, sick leave, or even office space. Many report working for several institutions, teaching many more classes than a full-time professor for a considerably lower salary. The stories of some of these folks is upsetting. The University of California at Berkeley Center for Research and Education reported in 2015 that a quarter of contingent academic faculty were enrolled in public assistance programs. Many of them live paycheck to paycheck and are in deep debt, with some shocking stories of professors living in their cars, being homeless, or resorting to sex work. Here at Ohio State, the ratio is considerably better. CollegeFactual.com reports that only 40% of instructors here are contingent. However, according to a recent Ohio Department of Education report, Less than half of undergraduate credit hours on main campus are taught by full-time faculty. The study that reported that between 2010 and 2014, between 51 and 57% of undergraduate credit hours were taught by contingent faculty and graduate students. The contingent faculty here are not without issues. Some don't know which courses they're teaching until just weeks before a semester begins. Contingent faculty don't have the same maternity and paternity leave rights, and not all of them have voting rights within their departments. One department this semester cut the pay of instructors by nearly 20%, and another department eliminated 8 out of 18 contingent faculty from the last academic year to this one. So how does this situation affect you as a student? An immediate effect is that an adjunct instructor has less time for his or her students because of how many students they teach. This is a problem because for most students, most of the time, the more interaction with faculty, the better. Hundreds of studies over the last 50 years have confirmed its importance as crucial to student success. These interactions are especially important for students who need the most support: first-generation college students, international students, and students of color. 50 years ago, institutions where faculty-student interactions were normal and frequent and the teachers had time for long and relaxed conversations outside the classroom had a huge impact on student learning. Higher grades, a decreased dropout rate, and better performance on standardized tests. But that's not all. Important traits like leadership ability and development, critical thinking, and problem solving, as well as better communication skills, sense of purpose, and character development are all strengthened by interaction with faculty. Now, with the majority of faculty being adjunct, with more students and classes to teach, they simply can't make time for as much one-on-one time with students. Ohio State's tuition calculator estimates these prices for students this academic year. For residents, almost $11,000. For non-residents, over $26,000. And for international students, over $32,000. These numbers don't include room and board or books or anything else, just instruction. For every category of student, this is a lot of money. Don't you think more of it should go to supporting the people who provide your instruction? Experts who study fiscal trends at universities say there are two main places the money from the tuition is going: added administrators and top-of-the-line facilities like the RPAC. In fact, according to The Nation, Ohio State is the most unequal public university, meaning the tuition rose so much and so quickly that student debt grew 23% faster than the national average between 2010 and 2012. During this time of rising tuition and student debt, they hired almost 500 contingent faculty members and less than 50 full-time instructors. The point, of course, is not that nice places like this shouldn't exist, or that we shouldn't have important administrators like therapists or advisors, but must they exist at the cost of instructional support? A lot of what I've described here goes beyond who's teaching you in your classrooms. It's not just adjunct instructors who are not getting what they deserve. At Harvard last year, the cafeteria workers went on strike because despite it being the country's richest university, they were making poverty wages. Everyone from cafeteria workers to graduate students have been speaking up. What can you do? Join the conversation. Read everything you can and participate in campus events drawing attention to labor conditions of its employees. Use these hashtags and Twitter handles if you want to be part of the national conversation. If enough people speak up, change is bound to happen. If you are contingent faculty of any type at any campus at Ohio State or online, drop us a line, osulectures@gmail.com. We want to connect with you. This presentation was put together by Annie McGreevy, a senior lecturer in the English department, and it was narrated by me, Kay Danino. You can reach me here at kmarievop.com.